Hello, guys, and welcome back to Global Conquerors. My name is SMGFrenzy, and we are starting our new podcast, which we do not have a name for at the moment. So we're just at the moment
Well,
we're going to call it GC Podcast Episode One. But it seems Assassin Angel has something to say. Go for it.
we did have one before. It was the Conquest one. The one we did. It was the
Congo,
first one. It was the
yeah.
only one we recorded.
We
I
had
don't know.
like two episodes, but like one episode was like a proper episode, you know?
Is it? I remember I recorded. We recorded one. I don't remember the other one.
Yeah. The other one, it was with you. That was in front of the Georgia World Congress Center. Yeah.
It
But
was
that
like
one
a
was
little.
shorter, you know. But yeah, welcome back to the channel. To be honest, we've been gone for 4 or 5 months. We had a teaser about a return, like 1 month
Uh,
after closing the
uh,
org.
yeah, and to be honest, I didn't even know. I had no clue.
Hmm.
You hit me. You texted me when I was at work with the idea. And I don't know if you were being serious or trolling.
Hmm.
So obviously, when I got home from work, I talked to you about it and like, wait, why? And we're about to discuss what that conversation was like after.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So like, I know many people, including yourself, were confused about GC returning just after closing, barely just a few months ago, and I'm gonna go more into why I decided to do that. And it's largely due to the case of like GC when it was founded was basically a three-man organization. Obviously, we wanted to get bigger. It was when esports was booming everywhere. Anyone could enter any scene. You know, they were franchising wasn't a big thing, all that stuff. And we were like, oh, we can try this. We're a bunch of high schoolers shooting for the stars, whatever, right? And we got into like Halo, COD, League, Overwatch, and started like playing with friends, recruiting them to teams, going like on subreddits, trying to get people on board. But it became a hard thing to do because as esports was growing, something called money became a really important factor because you needed money to get people to stay on board. You needed money to pay contracts, money to now join certain leagues. And so we started pulling back. We stayed in leagues that we could enter into for free, like Halo, which was our main factor, and then COD every once in a while. But even with that, it was hard to manage people based all over the world without having a team house, get content creators to actually post regularly. So we started downsizing even more and more until it was a friend group of mostly people based here in the US, for one exception being Smithy, who was in London, who was kind of doing his own thing, but still repping the brand. But even
yeah,
with that, it was still hard to get people to be consistent because another factor, like I said, money. Money does make people be consistent at times. And when it isn't a job, but like more of a side thing, people will do it every few months, even like 2 to 3 times a year. So content dropped off, and largely the only people doing stuff was Angel and I. And
yeah,
that's where the org kind of closed out with. And that's where the org is starting up with again. It's just going to be Angel and I. We're looking at this from a smaller perspective where we know that we work with this. That like it's fine. We're dedicated to this. We want to make this work. Will we expand later? Time will tell. But we know, at least for the moment, that we too can do what we want to do without having to worry about getting everybody timely, everybody posting content, trying to worry about contracts, joining big leagues or whatever. We can start small and go from there. And that was like my main perspective of seeing this, being like GC has mostly been us two, so why
hmm
close it when we can just keep doing what we were doing? And it helps now that also Angel recently did also get a PC that is arguably stronger than mine, and he can do a lot of stuff now, like streaming on PC, playing like PC games, editing, live streaming, even more, all the good stuff. So I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to relaunch the brand in a different directive.
yeah. So yeah, getting the PC was probably like the main thing that should have, could have, and I should have gotten a while ago. But things caught up and things happened. So like I told you, I was planning to get it like sometime last year or like a year. But then, the thing with my mom, this and that. But, I had to delay it. But luckily, a friend of mine mm, was giving he was selling his PC. He didn't want it. He needed an upgrade because he was planning to do more graphic design and stuff with it. So he was I got lucky and he told me. got it for $100, which I thought was a steal. But I think the main reason why GC wasn't able to maintain itself is because it was just him editing. We did have an editor, but it was like the hardest thing to like communicate with the person. Well, I'm not gonna throw them under the bus because they did do a lot of things that did help. So I did appreciate that, but it was just not easy when someone was doing it and then someone we had someone that was doing it, but they their schedules didn't wasn't able to match up with ours, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
So I don't blame. Everyone's doing it. Think they're still growing up or still learning things. Um, um, so, but yeah, me getting a PC was a big factor. That's how we're able to record this podcast now. So like what I think we should have done from the get go is I think we should have just started out with what happened. What I think caused us is we expanded way too quick
Mhm.
off the rip. So like as soon as Um, it was just me and you because after Sean left, I think he left what like a couple months after I joined,
Yeah.
and then I feel like once I because at the time I was the first person they signed technically.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's no contracts involved. I was willing to help build something, help them out. So at the time, I wasn't even an owner or a co-owner. So helped build a foundation for the org. So like I said, I was a player, so I was content creator. So I was there when they needed me, and then but I was involved with some of the business stuff aspect. So I helped us kickstart our merch. Avatar was able to get the logo
Mhm.
compared to what it was before. So it came a long way. But I think what happened was that we just expanded way too quick, and then but once Sean left and you promoted me to like a co-owner, um, which I was surprised because I had just signed maybe like 3 4 months into it,
Mhm.
and then he just texted me. We had a conversation about it.
Mhm.
Because of that, we were able to grow a little more. So um, yeah, but like I said, we're able to do a lot more now that I have a PC than I did before. Like I'm able to stream on my computer instead of my Xbox. My Xbox is old, so I'm not really gonna be able to do much on it now. And as you could tell, it was taking a toll on me last night, or we were playing Halo. But yeah, so like I said, I feel like just I guess we're rebooting, rebranding, not rebranding, but restarting
Mhm.
from how it was before, and just taking it slow this time instead of trying to grow everything quick and trying to catch up quick and try to get onto the what's the name? Uh,
I would say
I
like
guess
trying to be with the
the
big leagues, you know.
yeah, like we're trying to get on the same currency at them at the same time, even though we just started. And it was just we were trying to keep up with them to have a chance to even get big, but I just felt like we didn't do it properly. And now that we have more knowledge on how to properly do it, we're gonna take it step by step, um, and make it hopefully a lot better than what it's worth. There's gonna be probably a lot more content pumping out, but we're doing this podcast so y'all understand. Okay, they released a teaser a month ago. Nothing came out. Mark has been busy. He's been going on trips. He just graduated, so congrats on that, dude.
Thank you.
Um, so we this podcast was a long overdue, but everyone needs to take their break. Have to enjoy themselves. We are still young, but yeah. So we're gonna clear up a lot more in this podcast. It's gonna be a little short, but at least we're gonna have something to upload something at least once a week.
Yeah.
If we don't have anything, we'll have a podcast because we can do this. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy we have to do. So I will let Makta go on what he has to say.
I mean, basically what Angel just said, like expect like I'll keep doing my thing with streaming. Definitely be able to stream, but it'll be even better because like we were thinking of doing like a Minecraft stream, and now we can do like one on PC where we can have mods and all that stuff. We can play games like Valorant now, League, Overwatch on
Yes, I
PC.
will get absolutely torched because I don't know how to play with keyboard and mouse yet.
But like
I'm
it
learning.
that's like you said, you're learning though, and it's like an experience that like your fans can watch you grow as you get acclimated to the PC environment. You're being brought into the greater gaming scene where everything is nowadays. Like even esports wise, everything plays on PC now. You play League on PC, you play Halo on PC, COD on PC. All the big leagues are on PC. So being on PC is a big gateway for all of us to be able to go forward both competitively but also casually. You know.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much the next stepping stone. You have to be on a PC. I mean, PC could do everything pretty much. You could edit. You could play games. When you record, you could. I mean, it's pretty much what I said. Like I said, this was probably like the one thing that could have helped at least make. We probably could have had the org going now if I would have gotten it a while ago. Who knows? I mean, things change, stuff happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, now we're here. Now we're restarting it from scratch, pretty much like how it was, me and you. Hopefully, we could get it. We could do it properly this time.
Yeah.
That's the goal. We have to do it properly, and then, like he said, over time we'll expand.
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah, that's basically our directive for Global Conquerors for the foreseeable future. And as a result, like the YouTube channel is still the same, Twitter's still the same, the Instagram's still the same. The website definitely will change because it still has all the old info. So expect that to get like slimmed down and like more streamlined to reflect the directive of what the organization will be going forward for the time being. But moving
yeah,
away from that topic, this podcast will feature, I'm assuming, about everything we talk about. So gaming, the world, all the good stuff. And
yeah.
I guess yeah, you go for this part.
So the point is we're gonna try to talk about is like, all right, what are you're expecting? What do you expect to see? Obviously, podcast is probably gonna be a lot more things you see compared to like other things. But we did talk about this. We talked about what we want to do, like what we haven't played, but we are happy to start doing. Like we could play a variety of more games now.
Yep.
Like you said, Minecraft was one of them.
Yep.
I mean, we talked about ideas already before we even like we were talking about this before we even bringing back the org. We were planning to just do me and you, what
Yep.
we usually do, but just our separate channels. But then you brought up the GC idea and bringing it back. So obviously content. I'm going to start learning how to do editing, try to upload on my private channel, on my own channel.
Yep.
Obviously, I do upload a couple of times on TikTok. So that, once the org closed, I kind of started taking the TikTok like grind a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, since like I said, I started streaming. I now could upload my live reactions on there. It's easier with a webcam. And as you saw yesterday, or that I added the controller thing to my screen. So like that's something I couldn't do just to play it on my Xbox. I couldn't. I didn't have a webcam. I could do that. I couldn't have the thing. So like because of it, I've been able to grow like my variety now. Like I guess you could say. But like now videos come out a lot more better, well managed, um, better reactions now. You'll have a live feed now of me and you playing whatever we have.
Mm-hmm.
So, the goal is to stream more, upload more videos. I can't promise you that because we said that before. We didn't deliver. We let people down. So, like I said, we're gonna take it slow and at a time. But like I said, we've already talked about what we want to do,
Yep.
videos we want to upload. Like I said, podcast is probably like the one thing that we have a higher chance of doing more of because it's a lot quicker. I have a webcam. I can use Discord more, not on my phone because no one wants to see a vertical goddamn podcast where you're on a full camera and I'm on a like it's not gonna look good. So,
Yeah.
what about you? What do you have in
Um,
mind
I
with
mean,
the
we
org?
basically covered like all the main stuff for the org, so I'm pretty satisfied with what we talked about that. With also the podcast, I think the format will probably be going forward. The first few minutes are going to be us just covering just basic news about the organization and where we stand on that week, what we plan to do that week. And then after
Yeah.
that, we just talk about like how we usually do, like stuff like news about a video game, what's going on in the world, all that stuff. And I feel like this is a good transition to go in that way right now, which is like yesterday we had the Call of Duty League World Championship events. We had the elimination finals and semifinals. We had both two mega teams, Atlanta Faith and Optic Texas, get
Sent
eliminated.
home.
Yeah, sent home, gone, which was a huge upset for everybody. Because now we have in the finals is Seattle versus Toronto,
No, it's
or
New York.
New
New
York. New York,
York.
my bad. Yeah, New
Yeah,
York
there you go.
versus
New
yeah
York and Seattle.
Seattle.
Toronto. Yeah,
Yeah,
Toronto. Toronto and New York will
yeah,
play in the finals. It'll
yeah,
be the first finals that it doesn't include Atlanta FaZe. Atlanta FaZe has played all of them since franchising happened,
yeah,
and yeah, so it's a pretty big deal, and it's currently live when we're recording this.
yeah.
Well, right now they're doing the challengers final.
Challenge
They're
finals. Yeah,
doing publicity for them, but after that, the main finals is after this. So, oh yeah, so
I mean,
that's
you're the expert on the Optic roster here. You've been following them for over a decade. I only became an Optic COD fan when the Envy organization
yeah.
died and like franchising happened. So like Optic hasn't won a finals, like a world finals in a long time. And every year they do some certain changes to their roster, and they look very strong at the beginning of the season. But as we get closer to that one big event, they always tend to drop off and get eliminated before they can have their chance to shine. What do you think needs to happen to Optic for them to actually go back and win another finals? Because they've only won one, but the COD community holds them up to that high pedestal, you know?
So it's weird because this year was a lot more different. They started out bad, then they started out okay. Um, it literally they were at the low. They started low this year compared to like they were already on a decline from last year.
Mhm.
Um, and then won the first major, and then roster happened. Scuff retired, which was like the biggest thing that happened into the COD scene. Like the face of the league is no longer. So obviously, this is like a new thing that's happening after they have to rebuild. I guess you could say rebuild their from scratch because this is the first time we faced this is that
Mhm.
optic. I didn't have scum. And I mean, their team is good. It's just something needs to change. Like if they were to go with the same team this year to next year, something about someone's play style has to change. Like like if you think about it, like if you think about it very closely, s- let's see, Atlanta FaZe, for example, Simp and Abizi.
Mhm.
Abizi is the fast-paced, heavy player, and then Simp is the support slayer, support SMG,
Mhm.
right? If you notice, every team has that, but Optic has two of the most aggressive players in the game,
Mhm.
who can and Shotzi. They won a world championship together, but it seems like who plays better when he's with Shotzi, but it seems like because they are both almost the same, it kind of like. But I can't really talk because I'm not a. I don't know. You know, it works. I mean, it worked at this like a couple like the last three majors besides Toronto and the one champs.
Mhm.
But it just feels like there needs to be a sub who's willing to like slow down, play for kills, hold an aim, a pre aim, versus just rushing. And like if you see it, it looks like Shanti and Hook are the same player.
Mhm.
It just and then if you see other teams, there's someone's willing to slow it down and be a support for their aggressive sub. So I mean, I don't know. I know there's rumors about roster changes. There's rumors about it earlier this year with them trying to get Pred. But yeah, I don't know. It's like the first time I don't know what optics planning to do because I know most of the time I know Scump was going to be on there, so it wasn't much. But this time I don't know.
Mhm.
Like I don't know if they're going to keep someone's going to leave, but they're bringing somebody back. They're going to the same roster, um, and then coaching. They didn't have a coach since after a major one. They haven't got a coach. And coaches, coaches are great players and are great mindsets to have. But I mean, they did fine without one, but it was going to catch up. So you have to have someone to help, like, you know, like, look, hey, this person does this, and that. Instead of a player trying to do that, you should want your player to play the game and not worry about like him going to learn how this player is going to play and this player, and then try to feed it off. You should let someone else do it to feed it, and then you could just go. All right.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a good thing to know, like, to know what players' tendencies are and what they do. But you want your player to do his job instead of doing what your job is, coach. You know. So I mean, that's what coaches are for. You provide information for your players for them to go do what they have to do. You don't want your player to do that and then try to go feed it to other people and then try to play the game at the same time. It's just a lot for one player to keep. So I think what Optic will do is I think they'll make a roster change. I don't know exactly, and they're gonna get at least a coach.
Okay.
Um, but who knows? Well, we will see.
Well, yesterday I was reading around to see what many people were thinking, and a big consensus that I found that many fans and some analysts were saying about Optic is that Optic builds their rosters more around vibes than trying to see what works. And what do you think about that take? Because if that's the case, like, yeah, vibes, you guys mesh better together and you can play well, but like versus building like a team that like can win despite certain players not necessarily being the greatest with each other outside of the game. What do you think about that?
Um, I mean, yes. I mean, it's good to have good vibes with your teammates. It's probably like a key thing. But you need to have ground. I mean, I thought. I mean, they did good. They were fine. Like they started out really good the last couple of majors.
Mm-hmm.
When they picked up Hook and from major three to major four, and then the qualifiers on major five, they looked good. They had only lost. Let's see, three, four. From major three to five, they've only had lost to three teams.
Mm-hmm.
Two were in the grand finals, which were Thieves in Toronto, and they lost the two online qualifiers to Subliners. I think Thieves again. So they were good. The team was really, they were vibey too.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it. I don't know what happened. I mean, like in the heat of the moment, you make plays that you don't know if they're gonna cost or cost your team or it's gonna make you win the game. Um, it's just I think I don't know what they're gonna do. Like I don't know if they want to just build the team just to build the team that's gonna compete now. Because if having too much vibes is an issue with what's happening, then they just gotta figure something out. Like I don't know how to answer that. Like is vibes the reason why they lost? Who knows? But
I
because they
mean,
were doing fine, they were fine,
mm-hmm.
and then they didn't show up last match. They didn't win a single map, and then they did okay, and then I don't know what happened after.
I
They
mean,
just
do you think that also there could be a sort of like overbearing pressure that gets to a team that has such a notoriety? Because we see it a lot in the esports team when there's like a very overly favored team and they get to situations where they must win, but when you think they'll win because like they're the overly favorite, they have a great roster, they've been great largely throughout the year, everything is there for success. But when it matters most, they can't do it. We've seen it with Optic the past 4 or 5 years. We've seen it in League with T1 the past 3 years. We've seen it in Valorant. With Loud just yesterday losing to they lost to, I believe, NA team. I'm not sure. No, Loud is NA. They lost to an Asian or European team yesterday. Like we see it with the top teams that like have everything set up for them when it matters most. They can't do it. They look completely
mhm.
different and they just fall out. Do you think there's some sort of pressure that bears down on that team and their players that when they get to that stage, there's a sense of like fear, or there's a sense of like uncertainty that interferes with their gameplay and they just can't perform to the level that they usually do?
Oh, I mean, is it pressure? It probably is. I mean, especially if you're playing under the biggest brand in that. Let's just say in that game or that esport to be exact. So like Optic, it's big. It's a big name. T1's probably like a big name in league. Um, I mean, if you're like a big name in the scene, your fans are expecting you to achieve and be good and play good and win things,
Mm-hmm.
because your favorites, and then you're expecting like, okay, if this player's really good and they want to play for my team because I'm the best team and I'm the good for opportunity, then you would expect them to they can get players they want and who they could get. But if you're like new, some guys are like you're playing for a big org, you don't know like how the fans are going to receive you or how they'll act towards you. If you don't play good, they'll go against you. If you play great, they'll love you. So maybe that's what some players are like getting nerves of. Like they are scared to like what happens if they don't win,
Mm-hmm.
and you're probably wondering if your spot is now on the line. Because obviously, orgs are going to pay attention to what people got to say and what they see and what their coaches say. So, once if you're playing for a big org, your spot is on the line. It doesn't matter if you're the best player in the game, your spot is on the line.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not meshing or playing good for like what the people and the org is expecting out of you, then it's going to be hard. So I think pressure does involve in that situation, causing some players to like freak out, like, oh my god, now if I'm playing bad, like am I in jeopardy to lose my spot? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think like some players get nervous, some don't. Um, but I can't really tell because I'm not that player, or I'm not. So it could be pressure that eats them because you don't know. Like I said, you're playing for a big org. You got the most names, the most watched. You wanna play good, but if you played bad, now they're like, oh my god, now people are gonna say things about me. Like, oh, is my spot at stake? Am I at risk not being on a roster, even though you're playing on the biggest org? That's like if you're playing on a big org, that's like the pinnacle. Like you're at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get dropped from that team, it's do you expect to be on a team? You should, but do you expect to be on a good team? Probably not, because you were on a good team, they dropped you. Now you have to look for a decent team that's gonna help, but you don't know. It could be pressure though. Like I think that's what it is, and then what a big impact that org carries for their players and for what everyone's expecting out of them. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it could be just pressure.
Okay.
What about you? What do you think?
I mean, I feel like since we see it like all the time with these big brand name orgs that have like cemented themselves as like the dynasty for their league, right? That I definitely think when you get signed onto that roster, you have in your head, I've got to win, I've got to win, I've got to win. But then you get worried about like the backlash when you underperform one game, two games, you lose a match or two, and then your fans come online and start tearing into you. You see it all the time with Optic. They lose a game, and then on the CDL like CompCon subreddit, people are tearing into like Ghosty, Dashy, Hook, whatever. When T1 loses a game, Korean fans go crazy and send trucks in front of their headquarters telling them to retire, kill themselves. Like there's a lot of stuff that like the pressure from fans I think definitely eats into a roster that when you're on the stage that thought kind of does get into your head and it does eat at you and probably takes away your performance, especially when it's those like must win moments. Optic was in a must win moment yesterday, same with Loud. They were both in elimination like semis. You had T1 with like many finals that they were in. They were in must-win moments that they had to win. You see it across the like every league with these big teams. When it comes to must-win moments, I think like these intrusive thoughts do eat into like the head, and it's all like a mental thing that can be like overcome, but it's difficult, and I don't think many people have realized that yet. That's like my perspective on it.
Yeah, because I know that if you play bad, now it's just in your thought. Now people are saying like, "Oh, you're not playing good. You're playing bad. You should get dropped." It starts like getting it leaks. It like it affects your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're like you go okay. Let's just say you lost. You got to go into the next series like, dang, people don't like me because I just played bad. Then that's all you're thinking. You're not even thinking about like, okay, I made a mistake last game, last series. Let me erase what happened and then go off and try to play good. Not everyone's like that. You just like, okay, now I gotta make sure I don't play bad or at least go even so I don't get roasted
Mm-hmm.
or get people to hate me. Like if I at least go even, then I don't look bad. But um excuse me. But it if it's not all players, it's some players. So they play bad, some can rub it off and go again and then be better. Some play bad and then they let it eat it and then they play bad again to a point where like it gets worse and worse. You're playing bad. You're not focusing. You're worried about like the criticism of people. You're worried about you're not gonna make the right play. You're gonna make a dumb play to try to get killed or make a play that you think is gonna win you the game, even though it's not. You know, so like some players will let that eat them. They'll make mistakes, causing them to get more, I guess, things said about them, and then it starts making them perform worse.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just some players have to like rub it off, go again, play better than what you did before, but make sure you're playing the game properly, the way you're coached, the way your team is expecting you to win. If you were playing bad, but you were at least doing what you're doing, that's different. But if you're going out there playing bad, not even trying to help your team, or not playing fundamentally right how you were coached to do, and then you go into the next game and do the same thing,
Yeah.
because you want to make sure you don't want to look bad that like you just costed them one map and the second map, and you're already now you're at that point where like if depending on the game you're going into the third game or you just lost and you can't regain. You're going into the next series like, oh my god, like I just played bad. I can't play bad again. You're gonna let it's just gonna affect you,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't let that happen. So it is pressure that it depends on the player. Even that's what it is mostly.
Mm-hmm. Well, segueing away from the competitive side of gaming, certain games have updates coming out in the next few days, such as one of your fan favorites, Halo Infinite.
Do not call that my fan favorite.
It's one of your favorite games ever, and the next season's about to premiere. Actually, it's sometime this week. I think it's one day
It's
left.
Tuesday.
It should be Tuesday.
Would
It's
it be
tomorrow.
Tuesday?
Today's
They
Monday.
usually release date.
Today's Sunday.
No,
So
Sunday.
yeah, and on Tuesday is when Halo Infinite's next season comes out. And I've looked at some of the news. We're getting Infection. We're getting a new BTB map as always. We're getting a new arena map that will, I think, be in ranked. And then later in the season, we'll be getting the promised remake of Halo 5's Plaza map. We're getting two new abilities, with one of them called the Translocator, which is like a teleporter that we see similar to you played Overwatch before, right? So you know Tracer,
Yep.
and she has like her blink ability. It's something like that in Halo. And Tashi did say that that ability will be in comp. So, what's your opinion on essentially an Overwatch ability being in Halo in the comp?
Okay, let's be honest. We knew from the get go that Halo Infinite wasn't the original plan. It was gonna be like an Overwatch style game. When did you find out about it? Because you told me about it. You're like, yeah, the reason why Halo Infinite is like not perfect is because they scratched the original idea and changed it, and then they made this game, and that's why the game is so buggy. What was it like?
It was
three,
like
4 months
yeah, it wasn't
into
that
the game,
long. It was a few months. Like
and
leakers were going into the files, and they found like Halo Infinite was supposed to be like a hero style shooter where you select a hero, like in Overwatch. They have very set abilities, and you roll with it. And that's not how shooter games play, unless you're Overwatch. You know.
yeah. So if you think about it, the game was rushed, and the game was released like a month before. Because you texted me one night, you're like, "Hey, you know, might call me crazy, but Halo Infinite's out already," and you told me this a month before, because it came out in October, even though it was scheduled for November. Remember?
There was a trial in October. The game released Thanksgiving weekend in November when it
Yeah,
was
that's
supposed
what
to come
it
out
was.
in December.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I got it a month before because the trial was in okay, yeah. Yes. So, and then you texted me because I was getting home from. I had one out that night, and you texted me like, "Hey man, you know, I think I'm crazy, but Halo Infinite is live," and I was like, "No, there's no way." So I went, and obviously I didn't say much. Like the game was, all there's a couple bugs, you know. That's okay because you know the game is just barely coming out. There's gonna be a couple of them, and then the game's released a month before. So I was like, all right, so we're gonna get the game. They're gonna release like an update in December. That's what I was assuming. And we didn't get an update until what, mid-February.
Yeah, December came around, they released the campaign, no update for the main game, and then in the new year we got an update that completely totaled BTB and just put it into the grave essentially.
And then every update that came out, I think what was it, 6 updates before they got big team battle working.
Yeah, it took them a lot to finally put BTB in a place that works, but at the same
Yeah,
time Arena was getting like torched every update.
exactly. Because they would fix something, but they would break something else. Like it's something about it. The game looks good, it works, and then there's something like 2 days later, it doesn't work. Remember what game was it? H5, the melee,
The mail, yeah.
the broken melee that didn't work. Like what would you call it? Blink melee. There you
Blank
go.
melees, yeah. You would see it even on the pro scene. I think one of the last H5 tournaments, Spartan meleeed somebody, and it just, you can see it connect, no damage. Like, but everybody knew that was like H5's one broken thing, and
That
like,
was the one broken thing that I hated, and I was like, all right. But then when there was an update, the BR jam, then the blank melees,
yep.
then the what was it? It was like
There
off
was
rip.
blank
It
bullets
was
too. There was one time they introduced Imperium, which was the remake of that map from Halo 3, and then we played it on stream, and like half the map didn't load in. It was like
yep.
literally falling apart.
Oh, you remember the fast melee glitch?
Oh yeah, with the button combo where you
Yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah. It was off rip.
yeah.
Then they fixed it, but there's another way to do it, which was a little slower, but it was still quick.
Yep.
And they fixed it. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, all right, look, it's fine. But then you started telling me that H5 had like new maps, new updates, literally like what 4 months into the game. Dude,
So
this game didn't get nothing until like almost half a year.
it's like a lot of the community said that like Halo 5 was more of a live service game than Infinite was. And that's in a lot of ways. Like Halo 5 did come out with a completed campaign. Like Infinite's campaign doesn't complete the story. Halo 5 did come out with very few maps and like very few game modes, but that turned around the first 3 months. They added a lot of maps, a lot of weapons, a lot of game modes, everything in the first 3 months. And that was a very consistent flow. Yes, 343 also said it was very taxing on them. And you have to also think about like, how the workers of the game, the developers actually have to live and stuff. But at the same time, Infinite's like workforce, like I don't want to say bad things about them because they've still released a game that I enjoy. But like at least compared to every previous Halo from 5 all the way to CE, Infinite really is came out very bare bones. And even a year and a half later, as we are in 2023, is still very bare bones. We're just getting infection. The battle royale mode that was teased, leaked, whatever, is like gone
It's
apparently.
scratched. It's not even gonna come out until the next Halo, which could be 10 years from now.
Yeah, we got
And
what?
who knows if we're gonna be playing it.
No, exactly. We got one new weapon, the bandit rifle, which is just a slimmed down DMR without a scope. Like the Magnum is gone from Halo. The original shotgun's gone. Like lots of the classic weapons are gone. People have been asking for like playable elites forever. gone. No talk about it at all. Maps, we're now getting map remakes from Halo 5. I love Plaza, but like, dang, we're already at that point where we're getting map remakes.
Why are we getting map remakes? Are they not original? Can they not make new maps?
I don't know. It's
In
just
every game, even COD. COD just came out with a new season. They have original maps. They're okay. They're not good because look, since we're talking about new seasons, COD had just released their season literally last Tuesday or when it was Wednesday. Sorry, Wednesday.
Mhm.
So I haven't been playing that, but we'll get to that after we talk about.
Yep.
So obviously Halo Infinite. I got nothing to say about it because you know what I express my ways every time I talk about it on stream.
Yep.
You know, um, I can't really say much because I'm playing on an old Xbox, but it seems like it's more an advantage on the newer. You have an advantage on the newer or on PC. I have yet to try it on my PC because I don't know if it can handle it. According to Mokhtar, it is not. If you don't have the high end graphics card, you're chalked. You're not playing Halo. So, um, but like the problem with games is that they don't make anything original. No math original. It's always old remakes. There's only a couple maps that I feel like they could come back and should be in the back. So like Plaza is a good map. I feel like that should came back, which it is gonna come back. The pit has came back in every Halo. It doesn't matter. But in this version of it, it is awfully colorful, which there's nothing wrong with it. But is if they wanted to keep it like the originals, they should have just kept it the original. But it's okay.
Well, what
But
343? They said that when they remake maps in Halo Infinite, that they want to do it a different art style than what it was in the OG game, which is why Pit looks different, which is why Plaza looks very different than what it did in H5. And anything else that's going to be remade is going to look very different. So if they bring it back like Truth or a midship from the previous Halos, it's not going to be that's the purple with everything. It's going to look very different.
nah, that's the one thing that the one map that shouldn't change. That one it looks good no matter what. It doesn't. It shouldn't. In H5 it was different. It was like the purple was a little darker, but it was still purple. But yeah, there's a couple maps that should stay the same. But the thing is, I feel like original maps is better. I think Halo is the only game that could get away with it. Um, some maps on COD could, but um, they don't make any original map. They just bring back reskinned same old maps. Everyone knows that. I feel like that's what I feel like. It's just they don't make an original stuff anymore. It's just reskinned, or they move a couple things around that makes you look different, but it's the same map. Um,
I mean, there's that, or there's also the case where like COD and Halo they make original maps, but then nobody likes the original maps. You know, like they'll make a brand new map, and then it plays horribly. Like
because
in competitive in Halo Infinite, we had Bazaar for the longest, or Behemoth, which was a huge map that should have never been in competitive. It's great in like big team battle and stuff, but like playing comp with that was atrocious. Everybody hated it. You know, you hated it. Your face changed when I brought up Behemoth.
yeah, I guess.
And COD does it too. Every once in a while, you get like that one new map, and it just plays horrendously. You know.
I think it's just the style of game. I feel like the reason why I don't know, man. Something about the pit. It plays more differently from when it played on H3 or H. Was it H3? It was in all Halos, right?
It was in H3, H4. They brought it in H5 and obviously Infinite.
So obviously Halo Infinite is like one of the old school games, but it has a newer mechanic. You could slide, you could clamber,
Mm-hmm.
versus Halo. So if I feel like it doesn't play the same.
Mm-hmm.
It plays slower in 3, and then this one it plays a lot more faster.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like everything's chaotic. And the spawns on Pit and that in Infinite are broken. If we're on one side and if I'm standing on their side, you know what side I'm talking about?
No, I know.
What
Yeah.
side? I mean, I can't really tell you the side because it's the same.
Pit has
But
like
obviously,
two diverging sides that look very identical, but there's one side where sticky spawns on the. I'm not sure if it's identical spawns, but it's the side that doesn't have the DMR spawn. I think at the moment. And that
I
side,
think
you
so.
can spawn trap people there instantly, and they will spawn into your line of view, so you can just kill them right off the bat. And like that's annoying when that
Literally,
happens to you.
literally, if you have a player on your original spawn point, and if I'm someone on tower and someone's holding that, they're gonna spawn in that box. No one's gonna spawn. No one's gonna get a freaky, a weird spawn. They're all gonna spawn in that one like. And imagine playing Slayer. Imagine playing that. You're just stuck. I remember we spawn trapped someone so bad, like I couldn't, bro. Like it just didn't feel right.
Mhm.
Because they and it's still like that. I think it's still like that to this day. It's just I don't think I think obviously people have understood how to move out of that area more than before.
Mhm.
So, like people have learned to adapt to like getting out of it. But the way it plays, just like spawn trapping someone like that is not it. Like I didn't even know you could spawn trap in Halo. Remember having that dream hack
Yeah, we were
when we
DreamHack and we were
played?
playing on Plaza, ironically, and there was a it was a 2v2 tourney,
We were
and we got
playing.
spawn trapped on Plaza, and it was dude.
We're talking about Soul Snipe, who's on native right white, and I think Verta, who's now he was on complexity. Now he's not. I don't know where he's at now. So we played them in the H5, and we played it. We played Plaza Harmony multiple times, multiple times. Never seen anyone do this. Even when we were there, we didn't know. I didn't know anyone. No one did that until we played them.
Yeah,
I didn't know you could spawn trap. I didn't know. No, we always run the same. Dude, I couldn't move.
no,
Dude, it was. I was mind boggled. I didn't even. I all I said was like, "GG's, bro." That was a great. That was a good ass spawn trap. And then I took my L and walked away.
but like in Halo 5, it made in previous Halos before Infinite, it made sense because when you're like looking in a direction, you block off that view where people can spawn, right? So you always know where someone's gonna spawn. In Infinite, that's not always the case. Like you said on Imperium, you could be looking at the direction and they'll spawn directly right in front of you. And sometimes it happens on streets as well. Like you'll be blocking a spawn, yet they'll still spawn in that area. And it's just something to do with Infinite spawning system that I'm not sure 343 devs have been able to figure out yet, and it's an issue that lies deeper in the game. Back to like we were talking about the updates and stuff, where there's something going wrong in all of these lines of code that they cannot find just yet. Like I remember before I flew out to Japan, there was the whole there was a map that was broken, and they tried to remove the map, but then they couldn't. So they left the map in, but they put the weighting down for if you got that map, you wouldn't gain or lose as many points instead because they couldn't remove the map. Like there's something critically wrong in the game that they haven't figured out just yet somehow, and it's been over a year and a half. I think it
I
goes
got
back to the game trying to be an Overwatch style shooter first, and then trying to convert it back into a normal FPS.
what I feel like everything that's coming out is just rushed. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. The game doesn't feel smooth. I mean, maybe I feel like I noticed more of the bugs myself than you. But you'll get them here and there. But I notice them more.
Mm-hmm.
Like remember when the BR jam first happened? I was like, dude, my BR just hit. And you're like, what? That's crazy. And then maybe like 3 4 days later, you started experiencing it, and you're like, oh.
Yeah,
And then you're like, it took them how long? It took them a while to fix
it
it.
was a good pit. It took a while. Yeah,
And then stickies don't blow up sometimes. Or the magnetism stickies. You remember when we were on streets?
yeah,
The sticky went behind me and then it stuck right back onto me. You were right in front of me. You saw it.
yeah. It's
So
just it's also the client. Like remember there was the whole desync issues, and there was just Infinite had so many bugs right off the bat, and a lot of issues popped up, like you said, later on with all the new updates. They patched one thing, another thing broke, and it's been that way even till now.
I
You
think it's
still.
like that in every game. I think it's always been like that. But I feel like it's more. I noticed it more in Infinite.
Mhm.
But I don't know, man. I really want to like the game, like I did H5. The only issue I had with it was the blank mailers, but at to a point where like I was like, all right, I accepted it. The game was fun. If the game was maintained, I still think we'll be playing this game.
Hmm.
That game, Infinite, wouldn't have been out.
Yep.
But they just stopped taking care of the game after 20.
It was like 3 years support, and then it was just gone.
When it came out, 2018, 2015.
It was, yeah, 2018, 2019 when they did the last like competitive event for H5, and then they just completely
Yeah.
dropped it.
And yeah, and they started doing the H3, H2 tourneys. Oh man, that was
Yeah.
because what's it called? It just came out. No, NC.
MCC came out
Uh,
before H5.
but the game was
It was,
maintained,
yeah,
and they added more like Halos into it after. That's why people were playing that a lot more than the H5, because while you get a remastered version of the old games, you can still play. You can play any Halo on one Halo.
yep.
So I've been playing Halo 1 to 4. So there's Halo, Halo 2, 3, there's Halo ODST,
You had
Halo
Reach.
4, Halo Reach. There's two Halo 4s, right? There's like the classic one and there's like a
No,
re-update?
there's Halo
Or
4,
what's
but they went through and like updated a few of the lighting aspects and stuff in the campaign. It's Halo 2 that there's two. You have Classic and you have Anniversary.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. There you go.
But like
So obviously
people had hope for Infinite because MCC came out broken. Could not play it the first week. It was just
I
dead.
couldn't even play it, dude. It was black screen every time I loaded it in.
Yeah.
I saw to a point where I just stopped playing it. I didn't bother even to play it.
It was broken for like a good 3 years. Then they came through, they fixed it. You can play MCC. And then they kept updating it. They added like a bunch of weapon skins to Halo 3. They added new WAPs. They added new weapons. They took care and made it a live service game, which is insane for like 6 old Halos that came out from 2012 and beforehand, you know? And then you have Infinite, which came out in 2021 and is more has less stuff than like the OG two Halos did when they came out.
I still think it has less things than when they have originally started.
Well, you have less weapons, you have less maps, you have less just things in general. The greatest thing about Halo Infinite right now is this Forge mode because they learned from Halo 5, which also had a really good Forge mode, and expanded that. But that's about it. And
I'm
also,
gonna
like,
do.
go ahead.
No, go ahead. As soon as you're, and I'll say what I gotta say.
No, I was also gonna say like when Halo Infinite does play well, it does play well, but that's like every other game, every 2 games, or if you're playing like in Texas with like great internet. But anywhere else, like it's just bad, you know.
Look, Halo Infinite could be the greatest Halo ever made if it was maintained. I think the error they made was making it free to play.
Really? Okay.
Biggest mistake I think they made because free to play. Not many games that are free to play are maintained like. The only game that I know that is maintained like instantly, if something's broken, it's getting fixed that day, and that's League.
But Valve's free to play, but I know it's the same company.
But it's how quick is their do they fix their bugs? It
Riot
takes a day
fixes
or two.
bugs fast. That's why League and Val are still up there.
Exactly. Two games that are free to play and probably the biggest games right now in the world are maintained by one company. Think about it. One company is maintaining two big games right now.
Yep.
We're talking about League. League is pretty big.
League gets an update every week.
But remember, there's one thing you told me. There's like a thing that was way too overpowered.
Yeah.
They took it out of the game for like a day, and then it was back in the next game, and it was pretty balanced.
Yeah.
The thing is, they don't nerf it to the ground. They make it balanced. Most of the things that are in the league that I know that you told me are pretty balanced. There might be a couple things that are a little stronger, but not like holy shit, I gotta rock this.
Yeah.
I gotta always get it. I got to protect it. No.
Riot tends to be pretty good with balancing stuff for the most part. Like you said, there's obviously times where they missed the mark and there's like OP stuff, but generally they're pretty good at dealing with things relatively quickly. Another game that's like free to play and like maintains itself well is Fortnite. They've been going on for a long time now.
And it's still beta. You know why they call it a beta? Because it's always being updated. And it what Fortnite did and what they are still doing is the live events. Imagine doing something that live.
Okay,
No one else has been able to do that.
I will say though, they don't do live events like they used to though.
No, obviously not. But dude, to be able to do that is pretty insane. Star
I
Wars. I remember the Star Wars one, the Marshmallow, the Travis Scott, the Ariana Grande one.
yeah.
I missed a couple of them because work or I would get home late. I missed a couple, but they were insane. Like nothing beats those like anything else.
Mhm. I personally don't think that free to play killed Halo Infinite. I think it's that they changed direction too many times and had to get a game out before announcing that it would get delayed again. Because remember, it was supposed to come out in 2020, and then they
Oh
said we
yeah.
need more time.
Oh yeah. Remember when they what was it? Was it E3 when they released? They showed a teaser of it,
Yeah,
and then dude, the game looked terrible.
yeah,
It looked like I was playing on 360. It looked like 360 graphics. And then people were like, dude, do not release this. We'll give you an extra year if you have to, but do not release this. I saw the side by side comparison, bro. The game looked dull, no color, no detail. And then I saw another picture one, the updated version. Dude, I was like, all right, bro. I was like, people were like, you could have an extra year.
yeah.
Just don't give us this. Holy, remember when first when you're like, you text me like, or you, I don't know if it was Twitter. Or, yeah, you sent me a video of it. I was
Yeah.
like, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think this Halo should be released yet. It looks pretty bad. And then you're like, look at this. He's like, why does it look like so bland? There's no detail, no colors. Yeah, I was like, they were planning to release that.
Yeah.
Think about that. They were planning to release Halo that year like that until they received backlash, and they were like, we'll delay it another year.
Yeah.
And people were like, yes, do that. Like, for once, the community agreed. It was like, take a year or take as much time as you need. Do not release that. And they didn't. And they released something better. But think about it. I feel like they had to redo the game from scratch because of that. They probably used a different, like, software to do that, right? That had to be.
It's the same engine. I just think they had to go through and like retexture everything, rebuild some models and all some stuff, you know. And it just took a while, and I feel like them having to go back and redo things over and over again ended up taking a toll on their software, which is why like apparently remember they built this new engine because it was supposed to be the greatest thing ever. Clearly, it's been a year and a half. It's not, which is why apparently they're moving to another engine where the battle royale is being built on now. So whenever another Halo comes out, it won't be on this great slip space engine that they built just for this game. You know, every
They
other
should have.
previous Halo from 5 to like CE has been on the same engine, which is insane to think about. But at least it works.
They should have released the BR when the BRs were popping. So H5 would have had the BRs
I think that's
or
the
the Battle
problem.
Royale.
Yeah,
Now BRs aren't that like crazy anymore. Everyone loves single player
H1Z1's
games.
dead. PUBG is mostly dead. Fortnite
Fortnite
is
is
definitely
still
not where
decent.
it's not where it used to be though.
Yeah, I remember that's the only thing I used to play.
Yeah,
Oh man, I miss those days of playing the OG Fortnite. It's not. I don't think it's because of the building aspect. I just think that they're making the game way too more realistic. I don't have a problem with it like how it is now.
hmm
I just feel have you seen the new update where if you run on mud, you have mud, and then to get it off, you can run on water or just keep running.
yeah. So
They're trying to make it like realistic. Like I don't have a problem with it. Like it's good, but
I just think people got tired of playing BRs.
absolutely. I mean, it was at peak when Fortnite first came out because it was
Yeah,
a different. There's this is probably the first. Fortnite was the first BR that came out with a building aspect. Yeah, yeah, it was.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because there's no BR had that, and people, and then building evolved, and it became what it is now.
yeah.
So back then, people just built a wall, a little 4x4. Nothing crazy. No one built towers like they do. No one edits it like a maniac. Like, uh, I don't know. Just BR making a BR now is just not even it anymore.
No, it's
Remember, okay, let's talk about another game that died
sure.
quick. Remember Splitgate?
Split. Okay, Splitgate had. Yeah, yeah. I remember Splitgate.
Remember, I was on a wave of playing it for almost every day.
Yeah,
I was loving it. But then I don't know what happened. The game died down within like a week and a half.
Well, Splitgate's biggest issue is that Splitgate was trying to fill in the place of Halo. Halo Infinite came out, took its audience. Splitgate said, guess what? We're going to do what every other game has done, make a Splitgate 2. And what they did is, while making Splitgate 2, they shut down the original Splitgate. Don't do that. Overwatch 1 played all the way through till Overwatch 2's release date. Fortnite 1 stayed the same all the way through Fortnite Chapter 2, whatever, the release date, you know? Don't shut down your game when there's still people playing it. Splitgate 2 is going to release. No one's going to play it. They killed their fan base while they weren't at their peak, but they still had people playing it, you know? Why shut down your game to go build another game?
I don't know. It looked good. I just think I don't know what happened.
I think, like I said, they tried to fill in the gap of that Halo left without there being a Halo. With Halo actually coming out, people that most of the Splitgate players were people who just played Halo. Now there's Halo. They have no reason to play Splitgate. It's just Halo with portals.
But the portal aspect was pretty good.
That's the thing, though. I think some people like the portals.
It got abused really crazy.
That's the problem.
Have you seen what dev? I've seen a video of the dev playing. Dude, the way he uses the portal doesn't look like the game is fun.
That's what
like
I'm
you
saying.
kill someone, portals is already in someone else. Like, dude, it's insane.
I think it was too try hard of a game.
There was no rank. If it was ranked, maybe but there's no rank. If it was a ranked version of the game, then maybe the game had some. And then what else was another game? A game that I don't think should have get closed down. Remember Knockout City? The game was going to shut down soon.
Yeah,
this month.
Yeah.
Or did it shut down?
I think it's either about to or it already is.
It should be sometime. It's this month. It's either. Is it the 27th of this month? It might be the 27th.
Knockout City.
If y'all don't know, it's a dodgeball game that me and Mocker played on stream that I showed him, and it was pretty fun. And I still like playing it.
Yeah,
I haven't played it recently.
It shut down on June 6th.
June 1st.
Yeah,
I didn't play it then. But yes, it was I liked the game. Sad that it shut down. Yeah, because you went on Tokyo, so we couldn't even play it. We were gonna play it before, but yeah, it was a dodgeball game that I don't think it should have closed down. I think it was still good. I had fun playing it.
I think it closed down because not enough people were playing it. There just wasn't a community. Not enough advertising, not enough people knew. So they had no reason to support it anymore. It was a fun game, though. They had no issues with it.
I would love another. Is whoever's watching, you, the person who's watching this, whoever, future developer, make another dodgeball game.
Yeah.
I don't care. Make a dodgeball game.
Or relaunch Knockout City. Fun. Just actually advertise it, you know?
And then Rogue Company, that game didn't die, but it just nothing much. I want to play Rogue again. Rogue, since Halo Infinite wasn't like, I know I'm going off topic, but Halo Infinite had its bugs. We weren't playing it. Literally, we just started playing it like two days ago. I haven't played it in about 3 months.
Yeah.
You hadn't played it in about 2 months.
Yeah, about.
And guess what? We come back. Same old BS. Hasn't changed. Players not loading in. We're loading in 3-man stack. We have literally yesterday for the first time we load into a 4v4. The whole other team besides one player doesn't spawn.
Yeah.
When has that ever happened? I understand if one person doesn't, but 3 out of 4?
Yeah.
Dude.
Like, the match should just auto cancel at that point, which is why I don't get why that's
auto
not a feature.
cancel. Why is that not a thing yet? If you watch COD Rank, if one player doesn't load in, the game automatically cancels.
It's the same in League, it's the same in Overwatch, it's the same in Val. You're missing a player at the start of the game?
Wait, but they gotta fix this.
What?
There's no way in hell the game should cancel if someone lags out when it's 5-4 in S&D. And the game should never close out. We're playing Search and Destroy. It was 5-4. We were about to win the game. Someone lags out. Guess what happened? The match ends.
Ooh, okay.
You're telling me we're 9 rounds in. top 10 rounds in, and the game cancels. At that point, you should just let the game play out.
I didn't know COD did it like
Why?
that.
No, I think it was a bug. I think there was a bug.
Okay.
If someone lagged out, and it was 5-4, like I said, and the game canceled. It said in the left side, it said SR will not be, it would not be like disrupted, or you will not lose SR for match cancellation. I'm like, dude, it's 5-4. We're up, and we're about to win the round,
Yeah.
and the guy lags out, and the game closes. Like that's a thing they fixed. Though they fixed it, but yeah, game. Let's just be honest. Games should just cancel. Rank should have a feature where the game cancels
Mhm.
at the beginning. If someone lags out in the middle, it shouldn't cancel. It should just play on. But if a team doesn't load in at the beginning, cancel the match.
I think if like enough players disconnect in the middle of the game, there should be at least a forfeit feature. Like, there's been plenty of times we played Halo or COD, and then like half the team leaves, and it's just us two. There's no way for us to win, except for that one time in H5 where we almost won. Like, you should have the optional like forfeit.
Hey, don't want to talk about that. I feel bad now because I trolled. I didn't troll. I thought I made a good play and I didn't.
You can still watch it
That
on our
video's
channel
up.
too.
It's our channel, Global Conquerors. You should watch it. 2v4 a SWAT. What is it called? 2v4.
The 2v4 SWAT near comeback or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, just know that that thing would have been the best video ever uploaded if I made a better play. But at the point in time, I it was if you think about it, we could have won the game.
Yeah,
But any play I made, it was just a risk play I made.
it's all good.
So it hurts. That still hurts. It was probably been our best video that came out.
Oh yeah.
Even if it didn't do good, it would have been the best video you released or re-released. That was sad. I can't believe you brought that up.
Hey man, it fit in because we were talking about being able to forfeit, and like the only game that I know that allows you to forfeit mid game is Row Company. It literally
It
has a forfeit
is.
feature.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or I
I
think
remember. Or so
there's a surrender feature in Val
yeah.
and CS:GO, and
Yeah.
League used to have League does still have a surrender feature as well actually. So there's a few games out there that are huge that you can surrender if you just know that it's impossible.
What is Halo doing?
I don't know.
Fix your game. Do add some. If okay, I want to have hope because I want to play Halo. I don't want to go back and play. If H5 had FOV, it's over. I would be playing that, but it doesn't. I would have to play a modded version on PC, and not many people are playing the PC version of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the game would still be good and alive if that feature was an option on H5. But no,
I mean,
I got
apparently, at least there's a person on Twitter who's tracking. He made a population counter for H5. There's still a couple thousand people playing Halo 5, which I find surprising, but also not surprising at the same time. It was a fun game. I actually like H5.
I did too. Besides the melee, but that
Mm-hmm.
was the only thing that I remember happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're about like an hour and 10 minutes in. Is there anything you want to bring up, or?
Uh, I got nothing much, but be on the aware out of more videos coming out. Just know that we'll start doing more planning on what's coming out, what videos we're gonna try to release. Like I said earlier, we're gonna jot some ideas down. Um, I know this. I don't know when this one's gonna come out. I have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but just know there's gonna be a lot more maybe coming out in the later half of this year. We will figure that out, but we're gonna get this out so y'all understand why the Or's coming back and why it came back and how it's gonna be a run. And then we just talked about like I guess a place filler, just to have time. But what we talked about is what mostly the most of the majority of the podcast are gonna be of us talking about like news, on the esports world.
Mm-hmm.
Something pretty basic. It's not going to be like what we talked about earlier. Earlier is just to get back to what we have in mind. I mean, I don't know. It's still like a thing I'm trying to process because I had no idea we were bringing it back.
Yeah.
You know, but most of the like I said, most of the podcasts that are out are going to be coming out is what the other half of this thing was, and not the beginning part. Just expect more like news, just random talks, random things. It doesn't have to be esports related. We can just talk about random things that are going on in the world. Um, Stuff that's happening with us.
Yep.
So that's what most of the other podcasts are gonna be. This one is just gonna be like a refresh, like of what we're doing, and then what we just talked about. So
Yep.
just be on the lookout on more of those. These are probably gonna be something we release more often. At least this or once a week. Once we figure out how we're gonna do it.
Yep.
But yeah.
And we'll go from there. Expect this to come out soon. Obviously, you're watching this, and it's already out. But thank you guys for sticking with us. If you're still one of the old GC fans sticking around, if you're new, thank you for tuning in. If you like what you see, leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow us on our socials, message us. We will respond if you message us on Twitter and stuff.
We will
And
take any recommendations or tips or advice from anybody.
yeah, exactly. And just keep an eye out on what we do because we expect to do more, stream more, play more. We want to be present. I think when this is done, when I'm about to be done with this, I'm gonna go stream on my Xbox in a few minutes. So expect us to be more active. That's our goal. We're starting from a very small base and hoping to see where it goes in the future. Instead of expanding really quickly. So stay tuned. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and we will see you guys next time.